All right. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining. Don't think I'm going to get a lot of people tonight, but I just wanted to check in and see. Typically, I get more action on my live streams when we're in critical moments in the market, and right now we're kind of stuck at this connector, at the apex of the connector. So I figured that most people aren't really that interested in trading right now. But that will, I think, change very quickly in the next couple weeks. So for now, what do I expect in the market? Again, this is free for everybody, so I assume no one has watched any of my videos. We can't say for sure if this peak is in. There's some technical misalignment across the market, mixed signals. There are signals that show it could have peaked. The Japanese yen is already strengthening and making its turn. It looks like oil as well. So that's bearish. You do have this head and shoulders pattern here on the cash market. So there's some signs that perhaps we'll get a pullback that's bigger than what people expect. But then there's other people that okay, there's this gap. There's the extreme area, right, that hasn't been tagged yet in either of the indexes. The Russell supports potentially a turn lower as we break out of the wedge. So we have mixed messages. So you really can't trade the count. So you really don't know. Like you can't look at the count and trade. You can't look at the news and trade. So we have our levels, and you trade our levels. You have to ignore the news, ignore the count. So we have these levels, and each one has to be looked at, kind of on its own merit. And then you make your own decisions based on what you want to do. I think if you're bearish, it's smart not to use all your firepower right away. I think you slowly have to build your position and in doing that, I expect that if these do get taken out, in the next few days, that's fine. I'm just going to add to my bearish positions. I'm here playing the long game in this area. I'm playing the long game because I'm looking at the big picture, the prize that comes later at the end of the month. I'm not worrying about these little dips. Now, if it does want to crash, hey, great. I'm going to make a fortune, but I'll make even more if we come back because I'm just going to keep loading up. So this essentially, this general area is where I'm going to put my money to work from a bearish standpoint. And then I'm going to wait and just wait the market out, guys. That's how I'm looking at the market. And then these little swings and ebbs and flows could care less. So if it does, if they want to give some happy talk and pump the market and jam it up tomorrow for Powell, great. They just gave me more entries, more. I'm going to add to all my bearish positions, and I'll say thank you, guys. Thank you. I will thank all the people for the happy talk. If not, I could care less. So that's how I look at it right now. Now, the long game, right? Again, we just have to look at the cycles and where we are. Okay, the daily cycle has crossed over the stochastic RSI. Okay, you see that? It's opening up to the downside. Every time it's done that, it hasn't gone back up. It goes down. So if you're hoping for a bounce, if you bought the dip, you could be pissing against the wind here, guys. You're pissing against the wind because the daily cycle may have already ended, right? We may fade this tonight when Japan opens, as Japan opens. So I'm just saying, guys, don't get too bullish up here. But again, I can't rule out these little bursts higher on happy talk. Okay, on happy talk in the market. I can't rule that out. And they're desperate to pump the market because the position of leverage in a negotiation is tremendous if the markets are up here for Trump and his crew. They don't have to do anything. But when the markets are down here, they lose all their leverage. And now all of a sudden they're negotiating against Wall Street, the public screaming at them, senators, the Bush Republicans. They'll lose. Trump will lose. He may even get the courts to take away his power. That's what comes into. So they know. So that's why when they saw the markets breaking down after hours, right on the India stuff, They put out as much happy talk as possible. They put the guy on Fox News tonight. They're trying everything because they cannot have this go down, because that takes all their leverage away. But the market is already they've already pumped it too much. Now, what's the irony is, what Wall Street hates the most will be the thing that ends this. When they are down here, the tariffs will probably end. Trump will be forced to make a deal or abandon his strategy. So Wall Street, if they really don't want tariffs, they need to drop the market. They need to drop it. If they really want the Bill Ackmans, they need the market to be down here, then the tariff thing will be stillborn and that will be the end of it. If they keep pumping because they're so afraid of a sell-off, it's never going to end. And then what's going to happen is the asteroid will hit, and then, I call it the economic asteroid will hit, and then it'll be too late. And then you'll be essentially in a depression. So that's what I think is comical about the whole situation. But that's fine. So I think market's going to roll over. When it does, I don't know. I just want to play the long game from a bearish standpoint. I still want to be on the bearish side of the market, not the long side. Even though, all this happened, I could care less. Because I feel better at sleeping at night on the bearish side of the equation here. And that's how I look at the market right now. And nothing's going to change that for a while. And that's just the way I feel about the market. Now, if you feel different, that's fine. Buy the dip. But I'm just telling you, you could be buying in the teeth of a sell-off that could happen at any moment, and it could be pretty big. Because if this is wave 3, there'll be a big candle, and we'll be down this area before you know it. So I just don't know how it's going to go down, but we need to be locked and loaded and ready for it. And that's kind of where we are. Okay, that's kind of where we are at the market. Again, there's a lot of instruments that need more downside, that are technically stretched to the upside, and there's a few that could use a little, that could make a higher high. There's some semis out there. There's some industrials. And then you have a couple indexes that you don't have that perfect bearish alignment. So you're from a perfect bearish alignment, you don't have that, but you have enough evidence to say that you may not get that, and the market's already peaked. Okay, you've already broke the trend line. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And like I said, I won't be surprised if we fade this whole thing tonight. I won't be. And just understand that. So if we do fade this and break off 556.98, the next target will be, and I'll give this to you, will be 552, 549, 544. So probably 548. Okay, that's the next target, 548. And then the bulls have another chance to bring it back to new highs, okay, if they can do that. If they lose 54493, the 2 is in. And all hell will break loose in the market, guys, because they'll have so many people trapped. The people that wanted to play, it's going to fill the gap. Oh, we're going to 520, 580. Oh, it's a 1-2-1-2. It's going to moon. They'll all be trapped, and they're going to panic out. And guess what? The institutions aren't buying the dip from the retail that FOMO'd in. There's going to be no one there to buy the dip. There's going to be no liquidity to come in until the bears come back in. And I hate to break it to you, they're not going to be buying the dip right here, the bears. A lot of people think, oh, they'll just be short squeezed. The bears already took profit back here, guys. We were bearish on my channel up in this area, right? You've watched me before. We had the short on up here. Look, I mean, we were bear. We're not stupid. We took profit a long time ago. We're not squeezing anybody. And we shorted again, and we shorted again, and here we are. So I'm like, everyone's like, oh, there's a short squeeze. I'm like, dude, the bears are like, the bears have been on the sidelines. They're just watching the bulls wash trade the market up with each other, and we're just kind of like, okay, well, now I'm going to start to build my position again. And yeah, was I a little early because we weren't in our box? Sure, but I think it was good enough, and that because the Russell was in the box, so we started building our position, and that looks like to be so far the right call, right? But we can't say it's all over yet. For the bulls, we could still go higher, and that's fine. We'll just keep adding to our position. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, and that's how it is. Okay. But the bears are a lot smarter on this stuff, because over the years they've been burned so much. And when they do take the bearish side, now we do take the bullish side once in a while, right? The IWM, we had a buy here and a buy here, right? No buy here. We had the short here. 1, 2, 3. Will we be 4 for 4 on our swings? We could be 4 for 4. I mean, we could get it wrong, right? We could get it wrong, but maybe we'll be 4 for 4. That's kind of where it is. And like I said, so if you're bearish, you're going to have to be patient. But this will turn. This market will turn down. It's just we'll do that, and then we can see where things are after that. The Japanese yen is I think the clue to me where things are going to go, and we need to be down here before I can get more bullish on the market overall, and we're just not there yet. All right, guys, let's take a look at your symbols and your questions. Matt, I'll go to yours here. And again, I on my Twitter, I retweet a lot of different analysts and influencers that have really sophisticated data and reports, and you should read those about the macroeconomic economy and what's out there, what's coming, the position in, and you make your own decisions. But I don't think any of that looks pretty bullish at the moment. I'm struggling to find that type of data that says, yeah, it's everything looks okay. Like I said, I think there's like an incoming asteroid. Not my words. Somebody else said that, but I like that analogy or whatever. There's an incoming asteroid coming into the economy, and it's going to hit probably toward the end of May, early June. And there's no time, and it isn't like you can just like fix it. It isn't like China can just hug and make up with China and it's all back to normal. It'll take like months to get back to normal. So that's what's coming. All right, now WIF is like we had this count here. We need one more low. Everything in crypto needs one more low. I mean, we look at this constantly. Now this 4 could still pump up to this area. I would short this box if you got up to here, this extreme area, short it. If not, it could be turning down from here. It's kind of in the middle area, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it make this spike, and it's possible because this may be 5 waves up here, and then you spike up. But if you don't have a position, I wouldn't trade it here. You're just going to need to be patient and wait this one out. It looks like to me a 5 down from the low here, and like we looked at, it looks like a massive flat, right? A, B, C. Every crypto needs one more low. Every one. I can't find one that doesn't show that, and this one's no different. But how do we get there is going to be unknown. It could be we could already be there, or we could do one more move. But if it does this, you have a short opportunity. Then CRV, CRV UST Binance. Okay. See, so this one should be ending this C leg, and when this ends, it should take another swing lower. So the question is, where are you on this? This one's a little trickier. Let's go to the daily cycle. So it looks like you've got like 1, 2, and then you're building your wave 3. So it looks like there's still more upside coming, and it's not quite done yet. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We didn't take that out. So there's a lot of divergence here on this leg, but I only see 3 swings. So maybe, looking at this, I probably would have to label it something like that. I think it's something like that. And then this it's got to be something like, you know, I don't know, something like this. So I think yeah, see, I don't like the overlapping waves there. So this structure could be a lot of things. I think it's better to just leave it unlabeled. I think there's more upside. You need to erase divergence and then pull back and make like, so this is still going to go higher. This is still going to extend higher. But when it fails, it will likely come all the way back down and break these lows when it does. And that's probably when crypto has its like big meltdown. We're seeing it try to pump tonight. And what that could be is crypto trying to make that fifth wave here in this megaphone top. So there's a possibility that we're still in wave 5 here with this big pump, and we're still in C. So you got to be careful, again, if you're in crypto. And we may see this squeeze. Something like that now. And that may bring that crypto up to its apex. And then that should be it. So anyway, just understand now, this doesn't have to happen, but it's looking more and more likely. And again, they're desperate to pump this. They tried to drop news about Nvidia buying Bitcoin. It did nothing. They dropped Michael Saylor was buying all this Bitcoin. It did nothing. All that actually went down. And today they were just like desperate. They're desperate to pump Bitcoin. It's on TV constantly. The commercials, the ticker, the retail. There's not that much interest in buying Bitcoin right now from the retail group. And there's a lot of bag holders, and those bag holders are the Michael Saylors of the world. And they're holding at cost bases much higher than they should be. And they're scared, they're panicking, and they're pumping, they're desperately trying to save this. And I think they're going to fail. And that's going to, and when this plays out, I don't know what will happen to the MicroStrategies and everything else and the ETFs and everything. But this is likely to fail with the lower low sequence. Okay. So if you're a bear, you got to play the long game. If you're going to short crypto, you're just going to have to play the long game. I just showed you 2 cryptos, guys, that need maybe more upside. So maybe we're not surprised we're seeing this. And that's how crypto does. Before it makes a big move, it always likes to run and stop out all the shorts or the longs. It always does that before a big move. So I think it's probably doing the same thing here. All right, guys, that's crypto. So then let's see. Well, I'm glad I'm helping everybody. Thank you, Martin. We have RKT on. I thought I have that, but if I don't talk about it, it means there's nothing going on with it. And let me check it out. Rocket companies. I'm pretty sure I have that. Let me look at it. The chart. I thought I had this. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm thinking of it. I'm thinking of Rocket Labs. I mean, I don't mind adding it, but I mean, if you look at it, it just shows 3 waves up. That's a very dangerous setup. It's not. It doesn't look like an impulse off the bottom, but I'll look at it more. All right. Yeah, I think the bearish count. I don't think the bearish count is likely. Everything will change tonight. It's always possible, but I don't really trade the count. I trade the levels. Right, the count just is a kind of a guideline, but I don't. If we just trade the count, you're very unlikely to make any money, and that's why a lot of Elliott wave guys are broke. They don't have money because they trade the count, and they're always wrong. because you can't predict an extension. Elliott waves do not predict extensions, nor do they predict, like if we were to crash tonight, they wouldn't predict that. The levels tend to do that. The RSI tends to help. The correlation with other instruments do. Other clues in the market help us navigate this. But yeah, I mean, sure, it could come back up and hit our level. I still want to short technology in this pink box, guys. You see this pink box? It's pink for a reason, because I want to short it there, and I want to like look at my chart and go, oh my God, we're here. I need to short this. It reminds me to do that. That's why I put this there. So good. If it does that, I'll be thanking the trading gods for giving me such a great short entry in tech. I mean, I will be thankful. It will be like, what a gift. I mean, what a gift. So please pump. I mean, God, please pump it. I mean, get out there. Give me some happy talk, guys. Because I mean, we're short in the Russell because it's in the box. But I mean, the technology sector, I'd rather it wait up here. But I mean, this was a little too early, right? It's a little too early to short tech here. But the Russell wasn't. But hey, if they wanna pump it, cool, great. I'll be there. I'll take that. So Nike, Nike's trading in the sector. This is something our elite group looks at. This sector, the consumer discretionary sector. And the problem is it's pretty bearish right now. And of course, Nike's gets hit with this tariff problem because its factories are all in Asia. So before all the tariff news started, we had this chart on Nike, and we've stayed true to it for years, guys, on my channel. And I have to say, years. We peaked in the grand super cycle. We've come down. Again, when we were up here, I was saying, don't buy it. And then when we came up here, what did I say? We could short it. Now we didn't. We just missed our box. But hey, you got the idea. You could short it. And now look what happened. And when I said you could short it, people were angry because they thought that was a dumb thing to say. Because they're the people they follow were saying it was going to come out and break out. The people with 100,000 followers, they said buy it up here. I remember these conversations, guys. And I said, actually, you should short it. And when this happened, they were so mad at those followers. But that's what, and I've said this before, and again, I didn't, one of my guys that I follow posted this, and this is so true, and I want to say it again. Everybody in the market loses money typically. Most people, right? You go Google that, you'll see most people lose trading. Well, therefore, the people that have the highest number of followers must also be losses, because if they were winners, then everyone would win, right? If you're following someone that has over 100,000 million followers, aka Kramer, if he always won, everyone would be a millionaire. But they're not. That's why the anti-Kramer works, right? What that's the whole thing about anti-Kramer. Well, why the hell does that work? It works because of that general principle. Because most people follow people that are wrong. Because by definition, most people lose at the market, so therefore they follow the wrong people. So the people with the lowest followers, like me, tend to actually get most of the things right. But yet we can't get in the algorithm, and I barely can get followers. In fact, when I'm right, I usually lose followers. I lose more followers. It's always funny. Like tonight, I guarantee you, tonight if we crash, guys, you go back to my YouTube, I'll lose followers tonight. I'll lose followers. It happened, and then I always scratch my head. I'm like, how do I lose people? I said we're going down, and we go down, and I lose. I'm like, I wonder if they just follow because they want me to fail or something, and then they get mad or something. Like, I don't know. So that's the anomaly. So I still haven't figured that out. But hey, it is what it is. But Nike's been going down, and we have a short box. So there's another short area on Nike we haven't hit yet. 61, 64, up to 65. We're in this B wave. And it could still hit it because this doesn't look... Now again, this could be a B wave triangle. So this could be a couple things here. This could be a B wave triangle. If it is, then it's not going to get to our short area. It's going to stall out here and do this. It's going to do that, and it's going to have a big meltdown. Okay, I'm looking for eventually 38, 36 for generational low in Nike. if it can stay around. Now, the thing about the grand super cycle correction is there's no guarantee it ever comes back to life. And we know that from many symbols out there. A big one is Chesapeake Energy back in the day. It went bankrupt. Equity lost everything, and then they relaunched it, and it went crazy again. But the point is once a stock enters the grand super cycle correction, which is what this is in, there's no guarantee it'll ever come back. It could go to zero, right? And I don't know why, and still could survive, but it just, the equity holders may need to get wiped out as it goes bankrupt. And then it redefines itself. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Nike, but I'm just saying if you do buy it here in the 30s, just understand it may not ever recover. Intel is a great example. It may bounce, but it may never recover. So when you buy the grand super cycle wave, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, but there is an opportunity if you're lucky enough, you can get it. Now, I do think it's got one more low. I think it's got one more low. And this bounce is pathetic, right? Look at the market pumped, and this thing could barely move. It's a bearish triangle or whatever on a flag. Look at the flagpole, right? If you're a chart pattern trader, right? This makes sense. So I don't know if it does want to spike higher. We have our short box. If it doesn't, we'll just wait. And then down here, there should be a reaction higher. How it plays out after it hits this area is unknown. You know, maybe there'll be a trade deal and this will go away and this thing will go back to where it used to be. You have your wave 4, right? So it's likely to come back. Most stocks correct back to the wave 4 cluster. That's kind of where this is. The only thing going against it is there's no chart support once you break 43, right? Until you get to these unthinkable levels. So that kind of is concerning a little bit too. But I guess we worry about that when that day comes. I mean, if you look at chart support, there's none. Maybe a little bit at 32, but this is a grand super cycle, so you're looking for major support. Where's major support at? Maybe right there at the bottom of the bottom. I mean, that's insane, right? To call Nike down that level. But if it's going to go down there, it must be something really catastrophic. And if there's a trade war and they can't get their goods because they can't sell them anymore and the shelves are empty, well, shit, the company still has bills to pay, right? How does it pay its bills if it can't sell anything? So I don't know. I guess I can think through it. If the trade war really gets nasty, this company could be in a lot of trouble. I don't know what its debt looks like either. Like what it's, I don't know. But if it's got a rollover debt soon. So I'm just saying, guys, this is what I got. So I think Nike's got some more weakness coming, and we can short it. All right. So then let's go to some of these others. The leverage funds. They're always fun. TZA, guys. TZA is our bear fund on the Russell, and yeah, keeping an eye on this. Had this finished 5 here on Friday, and that should be that. So once we take out 1628, then I think that confirms the turn in the inverse ETF. Right now we only have 3, so we need one more high. One more high should do it. If not, you can't rule out another leg lower, but it's got to stay above 1494. And I have it in this 5-wave move and a flat. Right. So since it's 5 since we went up 5, we came down and we took the high out. We should get another swing higher, and that should get us to 31 in this area. And then who knows? That will be it, and the Russell's gonna bottom for like a massive bottom low, the buy, the dip, or this will make 5 waves up and it's just gonna keep going higher. So I think it's in a turn-in point. It's in a turn-in area, but we haven't bounced enough to confirm the turn is in or not. So we need to just give it some more time to play out. But this pink box is an area, where, you just have to buy it. There's your wave 4 low. And that's how I'd look at the TZA. All right. All right, that's that. Now SCO is short in oil. Now the oil trade's been going down. No surprise to us. Like we quickly got on that trend, but now what happens after that is tough. I haven't looked at this one in a while, so it's been moving in threes. So if I look at this, we have to look from this peak, 1, 2, 3, 4, but this isn't 5 because it's in 3, so we would probably call this W. So this, again, I'm just doing this here. So we probably call this W, X, Y. Now we know Y is coming. I keep saying oil is going to go to ridiculous heights in the next 5 years. I just don't know when, after this move is finished. But X, we're in X. So X is a flat, a big one. And it's in some kind of something like, again, I'm just trying to think through this. So probably put the B here. See, no, I don't want to label it that way. Again, let's just take a step back and look at this. So we have 3 down, 3 up. I'll actually put that there. 3 up. Yeah, it's actually like this. And then this B is like an A, B, C, because we didn't take this low out. So then you're in 5 up. So now we have 5 up. And we have a 1, 2. Let's go to the 45-minute time frame. Hour. I'm just trying to see how bullish I want to be on this. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to label it this way. 1, 2. One, 2, 3. Something like that. I could label it more bullish, but I think that's good enough. And so I have it labeled from this peak in 3, but it could be even more. It could be even more bullish off of this low as an A. A, B, and see, I don't like that. So I think this is the right call for now, but there's a possibility that this isn't bullish enough for SCO, and it actually comes up to 36.79.44, the level. So like, again, this is irrelevant of the count. This is the level. That's the most, I think that's the highest it can go to, is right here. But if it does that, then I'll need to change the count and have to start from here and make this like an A, B, C. I'll make this like a huge flat. And if that's the case, this would be like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and this thing's about to fricking go. That's probably the oil to $20 scenario. That's probably oil goes to $20. This is probably like oil goes to 40 bucks. And then when that is done, whenever this is done, you have a huge move down. And that's oil going triple digits again. So I think right now we'll just say that you're in an impulse off the low. Whatever this is, it's got to be an impulse. And I'm giving you a more conservative count, but it could be a 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then it could just take off up into this area. I don't think it gets any higher than this, but it's a chance it could top out at 28, 29 as well. So I just don't know. We'll have to wait and see what oil does. But oil, I think, is likely to go lower. If this were to dip back down for some God knows what reason, you can buy it. Here at 18, see, there's a buy area, so you can go long again. If for those that aren't in it, if it gives you a gift to dip down, you can buy that. And then we would just change the label to make it 5 up. 1 2 3 4 5, regardless of the RSI, and just make that 1 2, and then just does that. So either way, more upside. If it does want to take a detour down, you can buy it. If not, you just hold on. Okay. Let's go to XRP. Could there be an oil pump? There's always possible, right? If war starts in that area, there could always be an oil pump because of war. You just never know. And XRP real quick. But again, we don't really just use the news like that. Like a lot of people like out there were like, oh, there's a war, oil's gonna go up, so I'm gonna buy oil, and then it goes down, and they're like angry, and they're like, no, it doesn't work like that, because that's how the market doesn't. The market works on sentiment, and then they would say, oh, it's already priced in, right? That's what they'll say. All right, let's take a look at what's going on. So we still have this buy area. Again, one more swing down. So we keep talking about this one more swing down stuff. And it's everything in crypto is missing like one more swing down. So it is in this bull flag, if you want to call it whatever that is. It needs one more leg down. It may have peaked already at 236 here. It may already, and like rest of crypto could, a lot of the altcoins may have already peaked. Bitcoin's suspicious. A lot of them have, but see how that's up in 3? So I'd be looking this. Now, if we take out 240, then it's going to be in a bigger connector, and it's going to change. It's going to change this part of the trade, but not the final part. Not the still will get a drop, but it will just change into an erratic A, B, C, and then drop. So if you take out 237, then I would expect a pump in a flat correction up to the 320 area. But it's got to take that level out first. I would be more bullish, but that would be a trade because this would just be a flat and it would just rug pull later, and it would still come back down here in the future. So sometime in the future, it's coming down to this box, and then it's ready to roll. But I think it's because you jammed up in here right now. It's jammed up in this correction. All right. CHPT. Haven't seen that one come through in a while. Let's see. CHPT. Charge point. Yeah, not doing good. We stayed away from that a long time ago. We tried to look at it, and then it broke its pivot, and then I pretty much said it was a go to zero play. We had been charting it from the peak. We're still in the obviously the decline in C off of that pivot, and it needs to finish this impulse, but it just keeps extending. And it will keep extended until it either goes bankrupt, right, or it finally finds a low. And I would be more worried about it going bankrupt than finding a low. But we can wait and see here where we are with it. So again, if my count may be off a little bit. So we are in wave 5. Let me check the RSI first. We are, you see. But I don't think we've bottomed here. I think it's more than likely it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that sector needs more downside. So I think it's something like that. And if you're lucky, it keeps the bullish divergence intact. If it erases divergence, then it's probably just going to 0. Because then this will become a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and it will just extend even further. And that'll be at. And that's that for the company. And it'll probably just be a go to 0 stock. So I think it's going to break 49 cents. And when it does, that will confirm the next leg lower has started. And you're going to have to survive a wave 3 and keep the divergence intact. And if you start to lose it, well, then it's game over. But it's close. It's close. But I think, as you know, energy's going down. Oil's been going down, and people don't buy EVs when the price of oil and gasoline is cheap, and Trump is cutting all those benefits and things. I think for this sector, it's got a lot of headwinds. But if it could survive the price of oil, and when oil bottoms, and then oil can go to triple digits, guess what? This thing's going to take off. That whole sector will re-emerge because people will be desperate to buy EVs. When oil is over $200 a barrel, guy, you won't have enough. Everyone will be buying whatever EV they can find. You watch. It's going to come back in the grand super cycle wave 3. That sector will be back in wave 3. More bullish than it was in 21. More bullish and driven by the price of oil, because that's how the consumer works, right? They don't want to pay a lot for gas, but hey, gas is cheap right now, so they're happy, and they won't be buying this stuff typically. But anyway, this is charge point. Down it goes. All right, IONQ. Yeah, so that company is. I'm trying to remember that chart. I have it. Okay, so we bounced in 3 waves, and we tried to take out 3180 and we couldn't. Now, if it can do that, you may have 5 waves off the low, and then you may have a bottom here. Okay, and then you could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the next pullback, you can buy it at 25. But until that happens, this is a dangerous area, because it could be the end of the connector wave. Right now, you only have 3 down. So that's why I said this could be the bottom, but we only have 3 up. So we just don't know. We don't know exactly the way that what the market maker is going to do here. We don't know if they're going to run quantum again up for some reason, or they're going to drop it for a fresh leg lower. This is important for the overall market, bullish nature of the market in the long term. Because if this goes into a bear market, into another wave down, this tends to pump with all these other speculative stocks. That's not good for the market. Now, if it can do this, make like this 5 swings, then the market can pull back and go to the lows I want it to. After it does that, this says the market is going to be very bullish in the summer. There's going to be a big pump later in the summer, after this little bear phase is over with in May. So I think if I was buying, and why we watch it on our elite group, and we're watching it because we need to see this level taken out. And if we don't see it taken out, it's really just a corrective bounce, which could lead us to new lows, and we don't really want to be part of that. And nor do we want to short it here, because it could make a 5th wave, or hell, it could go even higher. So this is like, to me, a sidelines, but I don't want to forget about it. Like, I want to keep my eye on it, because it could be a big opportunity depending on what it does here. But I don't like trading it in this area. I just don't like trading it. But, you can do what's best for you, I guess. And bigger picture, I guess we can look at the super big picture here. It's good we made a higher high. This was 5 down, so this was a big flat here. Although that peak's too high for a flat. It's weird. It's got 5, but maybe a double topped here. And I just don't see it. Yeah, see, we really didn't. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, it looks like 5, but it's actually 3 waves down here. So it's moving in 3s. So this is moving in 3s. So it's doing something like this. Right? And then this, like I just showed you, this was 3. Even though it looked like 5, it's 3 when I count it. Then you have, let me go back and do this right here. Then you have a bigger W, an even bigger W, and another X. So if you look at this X, you see how it really annihilated this whole wave. I wonder if this X will annihilate this whole wave too. And then one day, someday in the future, you'll get another massive pump if you're still alive. Figuratively, if you're still alive in this stock. So looking at that from that point of view, the big picture, it looks like it's probably going to fail. It's just my guess, because this seems too bullish, given that big picture view, and we're still in X, and we'll need another one of these is coming after this is finished. So I don't know. So good luck on that. It's just, that's what the personality of this symbol. It's moving in 3s. The bad news is it tends to go down and get crushed. The good news is if you hold long enough, I think you'll take these highs out one day. All right. Then yeah, India and Pakistan. I think it affects the market for sentiment for sure. I mean, the sentiment, and it is a black swan. I mean, no one knows who's going to decide to do what, right? No one knows, right? We're not in their minds. Someone could fire nukes, right? This is where I'm like, is the market, is our destiny do we have choice and free will in the market, or is it already known? I think the market does not predict the future. I think it gives you 2 different outcomes, possibilities, and we try to go with it. Because and that's why I hate people that go online. I hate these guys that go online. They all have these 100,000 followers, guys, and they're like, this is the bottom. This is it. It's going to the moon, and I'm calling it. And I'm so arrogant and smart, and then it doesn't. It's because you can't do that. And I'll never say that, guys. Look, I can be wrong. What if this could go to all-time highs, and I could be completely wrong. And the reason that is because people have free decision. Trump is a free man. He can decide tomorrow to launch nukes or do whatever the hell he wants to do. And I tell you what, the market is not going to go up. China can invade Taiwan tomorrow. I hate to break it to you, the market isn't going to go up. Or he can cancel all the tariffs tomorrow and the market won't go down. But we don't know what's in this guy's mind, right? And same thing with India and Pakistan. We don't know what they're going to do. If they're going to escalate and it's going to get a crazy regional war, you would think the market's probably going to get hit pretty bad on that. Situation. If it's just they hug and make up and it's over and it was just like a very polite war, like India's like, oh, we were very precise and we apologize for killing some people, please forgive us. I mean, that seems to be how war is fought these days, right? It's very apologetic and very conciliatory, and it's like a lot of pleas and sorries and, oh, I didn't mean to bomb you, but I had to, and not like they used to fight it back in the day, right? So if it's like one of those, the markets aren't going to care. If it's like one of the wars we read about in our history books, like in the the Vietnam Wars or the World War II battles, then yeah, I don't think the markets are going to like that initially, and then they'll get over it. But I think I think right now we just don't know. But I don't think it was priced in anywhere. Because I think people knew and heard it, but they don't think they believed it, and now it happened. And I still don't think I think they just think they're going to kind of hug and make up, and that's it. I don't think they think there'll be anything else from it, because that's what war has been recent. Just kind of like, oh, never mind. Excluding Russia, Ukraine stuff, but like a lot of the other stuff, these little bombings and things, like, oh, I'm sorry, you never, I had to do it, and it was just precise, and we just didn't mean to, so I don't know, we don't get this total war anymore, right? I mean, and even you can say, is Russia a total war at Ukraine? Or they really, no, they're not firing nukes at them. They're still holding back, right? They're not at total war. They're at war, but they're not at total war. Total war is your pot commit your country. You pot commit the whole thing, the whole enchilada, right? World War II was total war, right? Total war. That hasn't happened. If that happens, the markets probably aren't going to like that. But we can't predict what it's gonna do. But anyway, guys, like I said, whatever happens tonight doesn't matter to me. Again, we have our sell areas in the boxes, and we like to short the market in these sell areas, in this area, if it can come back to it. All right. So then, yeah, being patient. And popcorn tuna, you're not alone being patient. Again, I always say do what's best for you. You could see there's a lot of people online that don't use Elliott waves, that are patient. There's people on CNBC that are clearly on the sidelines. They come and talk about it. And there's some that aren't. There's some that are super bullish and they're like 5% cash. So it's just, you got to do what you're comfortable with, right? And where you are. Like, you got to understand, like, my position, right? I'm later in life. I'm a lot older than you guys think. I've made a ton of money since 2009. And do you think I want to lose it all? Like, no, hell no, right? I mean, the house lost. I won. I'm not going to let the casino take it back from me. So I'm more defensive, right? I lived through 2009 and I saw my 401k go from like a big number to nothing. And I was like, what the hell? Luckily, I was young enough and we got it back up. And I'm not going to go through that again. And I think a lot of people in the market don't understand that and the risk. Now, if you're younger, I don't know if I would even care about trading, to be honest. Like, who cares? But I think because you have time on your side, right? But I think for the most part, like, depending on where you are, you got to do what's best for you. So I'm definitely more cautious because again, I just look at the big picture, right, guys? You don't have to be like super smart here, right? I don't, and I show this these charts all the time, and depending on if you watch me or not. This is the Dow Jones, guys, okay? This is the Dow Jones. And again, if I showed you this chart, and I didn't say it was the Dow Jones, I just said it was stock XYZ or stock penny stock or Palantir, whatever, and it looked like this, would you be putting your whole stack in and buying the dip right here? Or would you be more defensive? What do you think Warren Buffett did? He's all out, essentially. He's got most of the market cap. I mean, think about it. Is this the right time to be again, use your common sense. Look at this chart. Just look at it and you tell me. Ask your kids, if you have kids, 10-year-old. Look at this chart. Do you buy here or sell here? I think it doesn't seem like, yeah, maybe it could go like a little bit higher, right? Right? And I call this the stickman charting, right? This is charting for dummies, right? This takes no effort to chart. Right? I just draw some lines, right? I'm just drawing some lines, right? Through these common points. Ironically, that's touched, interesting, and now we're here. So where can we go from here? I guess we can go straight up, right? There's nothing else left to go but straight up. It's not going to do that. Now, maybe it goes straight up. Maybe it goes like this. Maybe moonboat. Maybe it's go just like that. Maybe we're going to miss out on that. Right? Who knows? Right? That's what some people think, but that's probably hyperinflation, by the way. That's Venezuela hyperinflation, if that happens. But anyway, this is where you are in the chart. So should I be buying or selling here? Right? I don't know. Maybe I should be a little defensive because eventually this will break down, and guess what? This line right there at 26,200 will probably get tagged. And then either this will continue with a whole nother stick, just like this later, just like that, or it will break down and go to the next line. So I don't know, man. I think the market is very dangerous on the long side. You have bearish divergence right here. Your wave 3 right here. You have divergence from there to there. Okay. The weekly cycle has already turned down. The monthly cycle is close. But once the monthly cycle breaks, it's game over, right? Once that line breaks. But it hasn't quite yet, at least on the Dow. So just understand the bigger picture. And again, I'm not here to, give you guys happy talk. This is obvious. And again, you just had a guy on TV this weekend, Warren Buffett, the best investor we've ever seen, fundamental investor. And he's basically took all his cash and he sold his index fund actually at the peak, ironically, when we were turning bearish too. And he's going to deploy his cash, he said, in the next 5 years probably. So they want to make fun of him for being too out of touch. I think he's going to have the last laugh. Remember, he was a strong buyer down here at this low. I remember he was a strong buyer, and he'll be and whether he's alive or not, he'll be another buyer. But Warren Buffett, the best fundamental investor that ever lived, is basically saying you need to be careful, right? But it will be okay whenever this happens. It'll be okay. It's going to keep going, and he's probably right. But right here and right now, there's no good deals from his standpoint. So he isn't buying the dip. The institutions have already left the market, and there's stats that say that. And they didn't chase this rally up either. It's just been retail. So again, retail's fickle. Retail's fickle. Once the momentum ends, they'll leave. And once they leave, there'll be no liquidity behind them unless something emerges to get the institutions to come back in. And I don't know if they will. So I don't know with Trump in office, because I think they're scared of Trump. And that's what the guy, I think, came on TV today, I think it's Tudor Jones or whoever, said basically, even if the tariff thing's resolved, he said the market could still go down anyway. Because I think they're spooked of Trump, just in general. So the market may be stuck in the mud for a while. Just how it is. Okay, let's keep going through the comments. AMD is tricky because it may have hit the short box after hours. We need to wait and see how it opens. I have a silly question. What is the ticker used to buy oil when it hits the buy area, 2030s? Oil is bought through the futures market, and you have to have a futures account to do that. So you have to call your broker about that. There's other funds out there that you could use, like the USO is a good one, but it's not like tick for tick. The USO, this United States Oil Fund, you could buy that, USO. Again, it's not tick for tick, okay? UGA, the gasoline fund, will likely go up too with it, UGA. Those are the two that come to mind. Or the producers usually also benefit, the XLE, but that's an indirect play on oil. But it should go up typically if oil goes up. There's just some ideas. But if you really want to buy the commodity, you got to get, futures and commodity. You got to get that on your brokerage account, be able to buy that. The crude futures, you have to be able to buy that through your brokerage account. So, all right, guys. Yeah, they do have nuclear bombs. I know they could start throwing nukes at each other. You don't know. We don't control their minds. That's why anyone that's like the lows are in, or it's gonna crash no matter what. You run away from those people. They don't know. Unless our futures aren't predetermined and people unless these charts predict what people are going to do. And I don't think so. I think the chart has either option. Every day, there's a bearish and bullish scenario in every chart. We try to just kind of take the odds into our favor, but then it's up to human beings to make those decisions, and we just can't go into their minds and know what they're going to do. No one knows what they're going to do. And people at a moment's notice have to, in one tweet, Trump could change the nature of this market significantly. One tweet, one man. The market can't predict that. Technicals aren't going to be able to predict that. It just gives you possibilities and the edge. But at the end of the day, they always say like technicals tell you when, but the fundamentals tell you the direction, right? And that's almost fundamental, right? That's a fundamental thing. What is people going to do? Well, that'll give you the direction, right? The technicals are telling you when. Like right now, the market is susceptible to a big drawdown right now, but how it goes down, we're just not quite sure yet. It could go down with the Fed meeting tomorrow. It could go down with maybe happy talk with China later on the weekend or whenever, and Switzerland doesn't go well. It could go could be who knows when. But it's technically stretched to the upside. So any bad news could be amplified the downturn. So it's really susceptible, right, to bad news right now, and that's why they were pumping the market after the India stuff, because they're panicking. I think they wanted to run this into the Fed meeting and perhaps even pump it into the post Fed and do all the games, and they're like, shit, it's already breaking down. We can't do that. Who knows? Maybe they were who knows? But it was kind of like a freak out from the administration. Once the market closed, they freaked out. I don't know what happened. Something spooked them big time. So I like OIH. Yeah, I do like OIH. Do you believe the narrative empty shelves in the next few months? Here's the thing. I think a lot of the items that we get, may not come from China. There may be raw. So here we think there's a lot of components and raw materials that do originate from China. There's raw materials that go into our pharmaceuticals that come from China. There's auto parts. There's chemicals, and that makes stuff. And so if the factories that are in the United States or anywhere in the world run out of that stuff and they can't get it for whatever reason, especially the U.S. factories, they're going to not be able to make anything. So that will create the domino effect. You know what I mean? So I think it's hard to predict, and I think in a lot of things, I don't know. Like, I think it depends on what the product is. I mean, and then companies were smart. They probably built inventory in thinking, which is why we saw the macro picture really strong in Q1, because they front run a lot of this. But at some point, that WIP, work in process inventory, is all going to run out, and they'll either have to pay the fees, the tariffs, or they won't, and then the shelves go empty. So I don't know. Like, I don't know the answer to it, but I think it's better to be prepared, because a lot of people do believe that there will be empty shelves, and then people hoard. And then that leads to other problems. So you just don't know, and I don't think I know. But I think to say there's no impact would be stupid to say that. I think there's going to be impact, but I just don't know like the supply chain that well for the different products and how the companies are prepared for this contingency. And you have to hope they have. And if they weren't and they were in denial, they're going to run out of stuff, and then they're not going to make any money. And if they have a lot of debt and not a lot of earnings and not a lot of cash on hand, they can go under very, very quickly without selling stuff. So I don't know. I just think we have to wait and see what happens. All right, next big super chat. Let your winners ride. Let's go to yours here. EXAS. So the XBI started breaking down today. We need to keep an eye on that. So here we're looking for one more low. We have 3 and a connector. So we're looking for one more low. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, definitely one more low. So one more low. I think we need one more low. And then that should do it. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. XAR, Aerospace and Defense. So I know GE is in a box, and that's an aerospace in a sell area. Now we did have, that's a pretty sharp correction right there. So you see all that bearish divergence, and then you started coming out of it. More than likely, that's 1, 2 right there. That's your first wave. And now you're in the next wave. And as you can see, that drop corrected the whole cycle. So this whole cycle was corrected with that drop. And then you came back above it. Okay. Kind of like you did here. And then you came down even harder and you made another high. So I wonder if it's in some kind of fifth wave or it's going to do a flat on you. Let's take a look. So 1, 2, probably 3, 4, 5. It's probably something like that, just like we saw here. But it's got a different personality, of course, but it's the same idea. So I would expect one more high, and then another big drop. One more high. So I think you have one more high, and then a big sell-off. So you see here you have no divergence there. So you're at wave 3. So this is where GE is at. So you're in a pickle here. Okay, I think you can make this final high in this ETF just like this. And if you do, you'll have a massive pullback again and probably break these lows. Now, if you don't, you could still be in this connector. This could be a connector, and it could still come back down in 4. Or possibly we would relabel it to something else. So I think, I think, again, it needs to come back and take out 178.71. So right now, I would just label it like this, and then see what the market does. And then this is your 3-wave dip. So it should have found support today. If it was going to make a new high, you would think it would hold 173 and make that final push higher in the next week or so. And have the bearish divergence at the higher time frame. And once that top is in, then you get a big pullback to correct this entire move. This entire move. And it's likely to come back down to 135 again when that happens. I don't know. And the personality of this wave, it likes to have crashes. But when I looked at the RSI, it looked like very similar to this. And then it rallied back up. And then it crashed. It's almost like, to me, it's like almost the same thing. Where you rally back up and then you crash back down. So I think it needs one more high. Now this too went from July 21 to October 22. So almost a year, over a year to do this. This 4 was January, and then it may need to next January. Right? Another year. So it could still be a 4. It fails here and still do this and still do this. Right? Because this took a year. This could also take a year and be 4. So that's also possible. That's why I don't want to chase it here. Right? You need to be patient. Now, if it does another dip down, absolutely a good buy. Okay? If it makes another high, I think it's in danger of 5. But then you can buy the next. So it's in a tough spot here. But it's right now just showing 3 off the lows. So you don't know. Maybe we'll know tomorrow. Because if you make that 5th wave, then I think you're pretty confident that 4 is in. And then you're going to finish this 5th wave, little final top. Okay? ITRG. Oh, Integra. Integra Resources. I don't know what's going on with that wick. I'm just going to ignore it. We're going to go from this. This looks like a flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, one more low. It looks like it needs one more low. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. Probably needs one more low to finish it out, and let's see if where we are in that 4 wave. 1, 2, 3. So that's your connector. Or actually, we're right here. So here's your connector. So it's in the sell area. Now it did kind of pierce through it a little bit. Little bit of divergence maybe. Yeah, so maybe let's give it another look here. Let's look at this pattern. So I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and I see 5 here. So I do see just 3. So I think it still shows 3-wave nature when I look at the count and the swings. So I can't like definitely can't call it finished. I still think it's just 4. I still think it needs a 5th wave. Again, we can look at it. This was from, you know, like September, mid-September to January, right? So that's almost 4 months. April, May. We're not, again, so this could play out for a little longer. So it may do something more complex. So I think it's 4, but how it plays out, oh my bad, it's 24, March 24. So that's okay. So then that's, yeah, more than enough time. Maybe it's bottomed. Let's look. Maybe I got the structure wrong. Yeah, it looks like it's down in 3. So it looks like it's bottomed actually. Looking at it, it's just this. I don't like you. You have to almost ignore this part of the graph because it doesn't. It's almost like meaningless data to me. This is 3 and it's bouncing. So I think from this peak you have 3 down, so you should get a big 3 up, and that's probably why we're seeing it extend, and why it didn't make sense. So I think the best way to play this then is bullish from the low. So you start from this low and you just label it bullish until it if it ever takes it out. So I think that's the way to play this. And then this is a 1, 2, 3. So something like that. I do think this is due for a pullback in 4, but I would expect it to continue higher. And this is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think that's what I would expect. And that would just keep continuing the upside until the market tells you otherwise, until those lows take out. So I'd be expecting something like this. Right? That's what I would expect if I was in that. Okay, VZ. So Verizon, we're trying to get to this final 5th wave at $52. So far, we are heading up that way. We have not taken out 47. Now, once we take out 47, then it can end at any moment. It looks like to me that's 1, 2. Right? And then you have another 1, 2. Something like that. Okay. So just stay with it. All right, if Bitcoin goes above your selling area box, do you think we negate going lower? It's the way to negate going lower is we needed a deeper pullback and then retake the highs. The pullback we've got so far wasn't deep enough to do that. So what we would need is we need, if we would have got a deeper pullback, let's say we would have broke down to 88 and then we could have come back up to new highs, then this isn't happening. Now, we're still in this cycle. This wasn't a big enough, so it's that. So this is still part of the impulse off the low. So I mean, theoretically, the B wave, I mean, technically can go high. It can go even higher. That's what these flats do. They destroy the bears, right? They destroy both sides of the market eventually. But the flat comes up, that C leg. There is no rule that says. I mean, this C leg can go all. I mean, there's no rule that stops it. It can just keep going. But it does stop eventually. The problem is we just don't know. Now, I've been trying to, label the waves and look at the levels. And so we're doing the best we can to try to anticipate the turn. And, it looked like we had it, but it looks like the market wants, I think, to get one more, peak in here at least. As long as we keep that bearish divergence. Let's look at the 45. How's that doing? Yeah, as long as we keep that. Oh, they're so desperate to pump crypto, guys. I mean, they need this because if MicroStrategy, if they bought so much up in these areas, it is just going to be a catastrophe. They know it, and that's why I'm going to laugh my ass off if this happens, because the panic online is going to be something to see. But they will get their big payday. I think it's just going to be some pain coming first. But they're, like I said, there's a desperation to pump Bitcoin right now, and I think they're running out of firepower here. Okay, it's just what it is. I'm the one that had you look at GME before the big run. I haven't checked. Oh, is that right, man? That's pretty cool. I knew someone did. I remember that. This was the same time. Yeah, it just needs one more low, and then it could have its a spectacular pump. And if it has Bitcoin, it may time with this, right? If Bitcoin can pull back and GME can bottom at the same time, I mean, it's gone. So. Yeah, who knows? But I don't know. We just need to wait and see. That's cool if you're on DJT. We need it one more low on that. I have to look at it again, but I don't think it's ready yet. Yeah, maybe. I think we see a big sell-off next week, but I think GME holds up. I think if we break the lows in the major indices before the end of June, but higher highs within a 12 months, I think we do break the lows, guys. I do, but I don't. Timing is always tricky. All right, CEG. All right, so it did pump like we want it. Now it's in the area of danger, I call it. You see the candles already started. So this is the area sellers can enter. So this is a short area now. Now let's look at it a little bit closer. Now you see we don't have divergence there. We need to go to the fifth. We need to see some divergence on this C leg. We don't have it, so I wouldn't short it anymore. I wouldn't short. It's not as it's at a level that it's gonna pull back. So I'll leave the box. But what I think is gonna happen here is you're gonna get a 4 and a 5 before it turns. Something like that. So I think you'll get something like that. So I wouldn't short it. I would you're just gonna have to wait through this, or if you want, you try to buy this 4-way, but it's very dangerous. Just so you know, because you are showing 5 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I do see 5 here, and even if it's not 5, this would still be a 1, 2. It still will end in the same place. So I think for now we'll go with this count. Again, the daily cycle needs a reset. That's going to define this wave on that next pullback. Okay. The best way to move to the elite group, if you're already a member, is to cancel and then rejoin. That's what I think people have done, and rejoin as the elite. Nvidia and Amazon, sure. Nvidia and Amazon we cover in our pro group, and as you know, Nvidia is in a tough spot here. I don't like how we topped in this X wave. We should be correcting this whole move. This is very short, and the way we topped isn't have the right look. Now, there's no rule around that, so I look at this and I say to myself, is this still the connector in a bigger X? So could it do something like this? And then on earnings, it spikes up, and then this is a game that is being played right now. Something like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that come out. However, I will say this. There is no rule. We only have 3 up. That could be done. So I don't... If I had YOLO money that houses money, I just don't care. I probably would gamble on a long trade. And if Nvidia's down here in earnings, maybe I gamble on a long trade to play that rip up here. But I will say this, if the Japanese yen is in our box. Now, if the Japanese yen's not, I probably wouldn't do that anyway. Because again, if I zoom out at the bigger picture of this chart, you have a left shoulder, a head, and this could be the right shoulder. Right? And if you do go into earnings on the neckline, that may be pretty dumb. Right? Because the neckline could break on earnings. So that's why it is very hard. Nvidia is a very tough trade right now, and it's better to just ignore it and wait. If it comes up here, short it. If it dumps, we buy it. And here, you just gotta kind of let it be. But I gave you what I think could happen. Right, I think it could pull back, whipsaw up, calm down. That's what I think could happen. Right, and it's high risk, but high reward. It's a high risk, high reward, because what you're risking is the collapse of the head and shoulders pattern. So it's a massive, if we trade into earnings down here. Now, if we trade into earnings up here, well, then I think you know your answer. Or if we're in the middle area, then I wouldn't even play earnings. Now, Amazon made this low here. We have 3 waves down. Okay. As you can see, the daily cycle's just turning down. So the fun is just getting started to the downside again. Just broke down. So it may have, now this may have topped an X. We did have a short area. We would have liked to see it pump a little more. It didn't do that. So I think anything below 192, I think once you break 178, then I believe the connector is in, and it's going to go lower. And I think this is telling you probably the tariffs are going to hurt it a lot more than we realize. If this is the chart, something's really not good, because this is not 5 waves off the low. This is a corrective bounce. It's a very pathetic bounce compared to what the market did. And it's finding trouble and resistance. All this resistance, it just can't get through it. And this is a trend line resistance, horizontal and vertical and diagonal on the so it's struggling. I would just again ignore it. If it does come up here, you could short it. If not, I would just wait and let this develop more and see if something more clear comes out, something better comes out. I look at this, and you know, I have it probably should be labeled as an ABC. It should be a WXY in here. But anyway, I would just say it doesn't look good right now. Yeah, the futures, you know, like I said, they love the happy talk and everything, and the futures can do whatever they're gonna do, and they're easy to manipulate and pump around. I would just the Hang Seng is touching its sell area. We were looking for that pop. We got it. And now what is it doing? It's starting to reverse. Took out divergence. Again, this is just the games for positioning, and we don't. My channel, we don't trade every swing. Other guys do that. We wait, and we wait for these key levels like here and here and here and here, and we'll wait for here. The same thing, and we just wait and we trade these levels when they come, and that's how we do it. Okay. We've been pretty successful too, even at Bitcoin. We've had a lot of success so far, right? Since I started. Like, look, guys, on Bitcoin, the short, the long, the short, the short, the short, and now another short. So, pretty successful navigating it. But as you can see, some of them they turn on a dime. Some of them are a battle. But they eventually turn. This is a battle, and this may be a battle too. This top may be a battle too. It may not be so simple, right? We just don't know how it's going to play out. The Russell could become a battle as well. It may just decide to go, shoot, fine, I'll add more. TZA, pick some up, no big deal. We'll battle. We'll fight the battle. Okay. I got over 1,000%. Wow. But bought back in and closed trade. I'm not really sure your situation in that, but I'll take a look at it. POCFY. It is not coming up for me. If you can give me like how to look it up, I don't see it, Eric. Oh, okay. Let me look at that. POF. CY. There it is. Oh man, look at that. Ha. Did we get that right for you? Holy shit. Look at that, man. We got that. We knew this shit was gonna happen. Well, cool, but you wouldn't hopefully were able to sell it, so they stopped trading it. See, this is what happens. Even if you get it right, you can't even get your money out of the casino. So right now, I would say, oh man, you would have to just, I mean, it's a corrective move. I mean, we'd have to go to like the 1 minute chart and see if we can even see anything out of that. You see, yeah, there's no divergence. So it's only a corrective bounce. That may be it. It may just fade back into oblivion. So there's no guarantee you'll get another reaction higher. Now this does not look like a triangle. I mean, yeah, so it looks like that low broke right there. It's likely to head back down. It's likely to go full round trip on you. And I think we knew that because I think we had it as a 4 wave, right? Where were we with this? A 4, yeah, see a 4 wave. So 3. Where are we at here? 4. So where are we at the higher degree 4? All right, so this is too short then for 4. That 4. So maybe let's look at it again. So it did double bottom here. I think it's important to hold this level and not break it. If it can hold that level, I think it can really continue much higher. Now, I think if that level breaks, it could round trip, and then you just have to put the 4 there. You just have to label it 4, and then it will make one more low, and it'll do the same thing again. So I think I don't know. I don't know how to. If I was trading it, I would just say, as long as it's above that 9-8 cents, there's still a chance for more upside. And once that breaks, I probably just walk away from it. But do what's best for you. Do what's best for you. Should I exit my SMST? Well, I never, on my channel, I never tell people what to do with their trades, because I always say do what's best for you. You have to own your own decisions. So I'll analyze it, and you can decide what to do. Because I've told people before, and then they want to come hurt me when it doesn't go right. I mean, they do. That people are crazy. So you decide what you want to do with this. This, I would say, looking at it, looks like you have a connector. You're down in 3, you're up in 3, and you're down in 3. This looks like, to me, this structure should bottom at any moment. But we can look at the levels. It's in the area where it can turn. It's a big area, though, as you know, as you can see. This is the accumulation area. The daily cycle, see how it's turning up? It's starting to turn up here. You need to see this line break, right? That line break, the 4-hour. Now the 4-hour is extended. I think that's why MicroStrategy was moving higher after hours, right? It's got to reset a little bit. You see, you have no divergence at that low. So it's going to be tough to pinpoint exactly where you want to be on this. I would just say that yeah, I don't know. I think looking at it one more time, we'll just say this is 5 waves down, and then you'll get a reaction higher, even if it's going to keep going lower. Right, it should do that. That's what you're playing for. So the shorter time frame, you need some bullish divergence at that bottom. You don't quite have that. So again, MicroStrategy could make one more. This can make one more push lower potentially. Something like that. So just know it's so I think you have to decide if you want to sell it or not. Nothing's ever easy in this market, but it does look like this cycle needs to correct. Pretty soon. And when it does, that's the opportunity to sell it. But if it's too painful, you got to just do what's best for you on it. It's also in this area, another area of another level. So yeah, and then when you look at MicroStrategy's price, I mean, this is a resistance area. Every time it's come up here, it's faced a lot of sellers. This is the first tap of it, so it's likely to get rejected, even if it's going to overtake it. Can I rule out? Well, again, there's only 3 down. It could try to come back. and then make another move. Like you're gonna, it's about like this is a battleground because they're desperate to keep this alive. They know what it means if this breaks down. Okay, it's an existential threat to the company if this can't keep pumping. So you better believe it's not going to be easy. So if you're in this, to short this, just know that this is the deep end of the pool. This is not going to be a slam dunk, and it's gonna do everything it can to mess with your mind. This would be too easy almost. This is almost too easy, right? What would really mess with you is if this was corrective, and then they spike it up and then they drop it. That would be how I would destroy you. And then this would be a 4, right? This would just be 1, 2, and I would just have to change this 4 to be 4 and 5, and then just drop it. That's the way I look at it. Again, the daily cycle needs to pull back, right? That's the bear. That's your bear saving grace, right? The daily cycle is not going to do this all summer. It's going to come back down. When it does that, then you can decide, right? So good luck. I hope it works out. SPRS, last one. SPRS. Surge. So from here, we'll just chart it from this low. Looks like a nice impulse off the bottom. Nice 5-wave look. Right? And then you pulled back in 3. Hit the buy area and went vertical. Right? You hit this buy area. And then it went vertical. So you need to stay above 156. Now you see you came back down in 3. But you have divergence. That's a little... So it could still dip back down. You really need to stay above this wick. So you could be in something like a 1 and a 2. And in this situation you're in, you see how you broke this low? Now here let me see that. I must have looked at it the wrong way. You see how you erase divergence. Okay, so then this is good. And then you broke the cycle. So yeah, I bet this low's in. I bet this is in. So you could just buy it, and I'd probably just I would still stop at 152, but if you want to be safer, you put it at 195, and then you can catch the next wave 3 out of this cycle, right, for another cycle higher. Right, and then this would be at least a 3-wave move. And then after that, who knows? Something like that. That's what I'd be looking for right now. But if that breaks, then it's likely to make a full round trip back down. But it's probably will still hold this level down here. It's just going to make a bigger, deeper correction. So if it breaks that low, then you'll be looking at like 13.86 cents. Yeah, MicroStrategy had a personality, that stock I bought, where essentially it went to 0 when their strategy eventually when the .com bubble ended. And we don't know how this will go down. That's the personality of the stock, right? It's likely to do the same thing. And I do think he's a target on his back. I think people that want Bitcoin know he's a target. Whales are going to go after him. They're not all like nice and they love each other. Like, no, Like they want as much Bitcoin. They covet Bitcoin as much as he does, and he's a walking target. Then you can read his battle plan on the internet and how to defeat him. I mean, you understand, like it's clear to them how to get that. They just haven't gone after it yet. But once they want it, they're gonna do it. They're gonna collapse it, and he's gonna be forced to sell everything, and they're gonna pick it all up on the cheap. That's what they're gonna do to him. So he's being set. But once they know he can't buy anymore, eventually the shareholders, and he won't be able to raise any more money to buy anymore. Once that ends, I think that's when maybe the whales go after him, and they do that. And they drop the price, and because that's what the whales can do, and then he's forced to sell, and then he has to dump everything he owns, and then that's the end of that. And then they come in and scoop it all up, and then the market recovers, and MicroStrategy they write books about it, and that's it. That's probably what happens to him. But when it's going to happen, I don't know. I think the whales keep it alive until he can't get any more. Because I think it's nice for them to be able to just like, because he can pull that money in, but eventually that's going to dry up, I would assume. But people are paying over NAV. I mean, MicroStrategy, the last I checked, is double NAV. So it's 2 times. It trades at 385. It should be half that price. So investors are buying this 2 times NAV. It makes no sense. But yet shareholders are buying it. I'm like, who's buying this at 2 times NAV? Especially when you can just go buy Bitcoin yourself. It makes no sense to me. I'm like, I don't understand. I can't process that. but it is. That's what's happening. So anyway, guys. I'm not sure about GameStop. I think his objective, think about it. His objective is to keep the price high because he gets liquidated if the price drops too much. So he needs fresh liquidity to come in to keep the price higher. So if he can get Nvidia to buy in, GameStop to buy in, corporations to buy in, he's going to win. That's how he wins this game. If he can't and the price starts to go down, and it goes below, I think is like below 60,000 Bitcoin price or something, he's in a lot of trouble, and they'll have to sell. He'll have to sell something. He'll have to start to do that, and it's just a sell. It's a self prep. It's like a it just kind of builds on its snowballs. So I don't know how this will end, but history says it ends. History tells you these types of schemes come to an end at some point. It isn't bulletproof. It never is. But I do believe, like I said, I believe he's got a target on his back. The whales are gonna come for him and take all that Bitcoin off his hands. It's coming. You just don't know how it's gonna go down. But I believe that will happen. Okay. And by the way, if you're in those leveraged MicroStrategy short funds and that plays out, remember, again, it can get erratic down here, right? Big moves, big swings. So don't be caught with the levered fund collapsing, right? So just take your profit and then just have house's money in there, because once this thing starts swinging like a patient dying at the table, it'll probably, if it ever comes down to 40 or 20, it'll probably be moving 30-40% in one day. You'll probably see big swings like that. These funds those funds aren't going to survive that kind of volatility. So you just got to be really careful if something like that plays out. So that's the risk of these leveraged ETNs out there. And if you don't know what I mean, just look up XIV. Just look up the XIV. I'll tell you a whole big story about it. And a lot of people lost a lot of money in that because they didn't know what they were buying. Yeah, we did pretty good shorting it here. See, this one was an easy one. Boom. This one was a little bit of a fight here. Started here, and then see, they ran that up. But I was like, no, not falling for it. I just shorted more. Whoops. So I don't know what they're going to do here. So I'm like, they may run this up again tomorrow or something. And we saw that already. That's what they did right here. Right? We come in, we shorted it, and then they ran it up. And I was just laughing. I was like, you think I'm stupid, right? Okay, I'll just short more. Okay, now it went down. So I think that's the same game that could be being played here. So just be careful if you're too levered right now on the short side of it. Anyway, guys, good luck. GameStop has not said nothing about buying. I thought their CEO said he would. I thought he said he would, but I have to. I guess I got to go back and check my sources. All right, guys, that's it. Good night, and we'll see. Big day, Fed day. Is Paul going to try to save the dollar? I think that's the big question tomorrow. Because if not, we could have a real big dollar meltdown. So if Paul needs to be hawkish to save the dollar tomorrow, which should drop the markets a lot. If he does, if he's going to be dovish, the dollar's going to plummet, and that may be we may look back as a very dumb thing, because it's at a very big moment in time. The dollar index is at the bear flag, the historic big bear flag that's been going on since 2009, and it may come to an end tomorrow. And when it does, we'll see decades of losses in the dollar. And and I think it can be saved tomorrow potentially with some very hawkish commentary, and maybe maybe he wants to prepare the markets for rate increases that may be needed because of the tariff situation, and that will scare